Welcome to Licking Non-Vanilla, a sex-positive hour of talk about kink, sexual mores, and writing dirty words. So grab a cup of cocoa, your favorite easy chair, and the lube as we go sailing into the dark, sweet waters of all things naughty. On Licking Non-Vanilla with your hosts Ralph Greco Jr. and M. Christian.
Hey everybody, welcome to Licking Non-Vanilla. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Ralph Greco Jr. on the wild, woolly east coast of the United States. Across from me is my buddy and co-host, M. Christian. Hello, Chris. How you doing?
Good. Talking to you from the rather warm for this time of year, Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's a little muggy here in Jersey. I was just out walking and almost had a heart attack. I said, well, let me come in and do the show and have a heart attack later. We have a guest on tonight who I met. I'll tell you how I met him. I don't really even know, actually. But this is Kevin Stolz, right? Kevin, we say it's the last name is Stolz? Or
Stolz. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Kevin is a photographer, and he is a putter together of a couple of magazines. And we're going to talk about them in a minute. So, Kevin, we have two magazines you're involved in, right? I mean, that's kind of your main thing, or I mean, what? Let's tell everybody exactly what you do and how you do it and why you do
it. Okay. Well, I mean, I've been doing the magazine. The first one started back in 2007,
and that's which one?
We celebrated.
Tell everybody which name of that magazine is.
That one was called, originally it was all in Spanish, and it was called Erotico Mexico.
Okay.
But soon after we launched, we had about 4,000 visitors a day to the website, and they were all from out of Latin American countries, so U.S., Canadian, European. Mm-hmm. So we decided to change the whole format to English and launch the Eroticism magazine.
Okay, which is what it is now.
Which is what it is now.
Right, okay.
And then this year, together with my other photographers, I have a East Coast photographer, I had a Colorado photographer, and I'm down here in Houston. Mm-hmm. We made a decision to launch a less explicit magazine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's when we went with Erotique magazine.
Right. So Erotique has been up and running how long?
We did the January, February issue, the March, April, the May, June, and I think we just launched the July, August. Our next issue out will be September, October. Oh, we're going to do a back to school issue.
Oh, well, of course. So
that's always popular.
Oh, with the little plaid school skirts and stuff. Yeah, I can see where that's going. But Kevin, you're mainly though you're a photographer. That's your trade, right?
That was my career.
Your career, right? Okay. And before you got into like I always like when I ask the porn stars, what's a nice girl like you? How'd you get here? But like, what's a nice guy like you? How did you get to this point? Like, what kind of photography were you doing, or were you always just doing adult photography?
No, I was actually, when I was in New York City, I was doing a lot of fashion. I was doing a lot of model portfolios. Mm-hmm. But then because of where my studio was located in the middle of a prostitution area, when it was really hot, and you know how the summers are in New York and New Jersey, they're horrible.
Yes, they are.
So I would let the girls come upstairs in the air conditioning, and they would get their, drink, and then they're smiling. Yeah.
What a guy!
What a guy! Yeah?
What a guy!
And so it worked out the reverse as well. So in the wintertime, when it was really cold, you know how the prostitutes on the streets dressed back then.
Oh, right, yeah.
They basically no clothes on, just an overcoat. So they would get cold. They'd come up and have coffee, and I had a cappuccino machine in the studio there.
What a guy.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. There was a black girl named China.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was her pro name.
Right.
And she was probably the first one that posed for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when she came up, she saw that it was the studio, and she said, "Oh, she said, I'd like to see what I would look like nude."
Right.
So
And you said, "So would I." But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, she was nice. Yeah, she was nice. And then later on, it just one of my mainstream models from one of the agencies, a mix of a black and Vietnamese. She decided she wanted to do some nude modeling,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, she was absolutely beautiful, tall, natural.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's kind of like how it started.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole thing about the photography business was when I was a kid, my grandmother, who was from New Jersey actually,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a painter, I guess you would call her. She painted landscapes.
Okay.
So she had a magazine that she received every month, which was called Arizona Highways.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that magazine.
And this magazine is this magazine is still on the
I've seen that magazine for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I always loved the pictures that were in there, and I loved the landscapes. So I always had like a fantasy of being able to do that magazine.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my first.
Right.
And then things kind of evolved. I finished college. Coming out of college, I went to a job fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I met a guy there at the job fair whose girlfriend / wife was the editor of Rolling Stone magazine.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
And so him and I got along really good. He had long hair with a ponytail and a beard. I had the ponytail and the beard going on at the time too.
Right.
So we connected, and so he hooked me up with her and got some freelance stuff with Rolling Stone, and she hooked me up with some modeling agencies and parties and things like that. So I never met Donald Trump though. Let's get that straight.
You can only do what you can do. So you were you were like shooting in the rock and roll world for a while when you first came out of school.
That was my whole first gig.
That's cool, man.
And I was actually living in my car.
Okay.
I was living in my car because I didn't have money to rent a place.
Right.
And I was parking the car in a locked parking lot that belonged to Key Food at night. The manager let me lock my car in there.
Right.
And so in the morning when his security guys would open up, they would open the gate up so I could get out.
Oh man. Oh man.
So, and that evolved into getting a studio and everything. And when I moved to Mexico, I moved there for Travel and Leisure magazine.
Oh, okay.
I was doing work for them and a couple of other magazines in Mexico.
Wow.
So I just thought natural, let's move to Mexico.
Yeah. Wow. So
yeah.
You've been a professional photographer for how long then?
43 years.
Holy
wow, that's
shit.
wonderful.
Holy shit. So
and I sold my first if you consider the way they say that a professional is when he sells.
Yes.
I actually sold my first photos when I was 17.
Really? What were they?
Yeah. The building fire in Manhattan.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I sold them to an insurance company.
Oh, yeah. Well, they need them, right? I mean, I worked for a time for a latex magazine, and the guy who ran the magazine was a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Magazine. Chris knows him. And
excuse me, but everybody knows me for my coffee.
Well, you got to be doing it,
I drink coffee or espresso or something 24/7.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Our producer is a big coffee guy. Me and my producer, when I go out there to do the music with him, we're that's the thing. We always do something, figuring out the coffee situation. But Kevin, I mean, though that amount of time that you've been a photographer, you've seen some amazing changes to photography. I mean, Chris and I have seen it in the writing field, and I've seen it with my producer in the recording field. But the only reason I'm saying this is because when I was helping the guy put the magazine together, it was all digital. It was taking pictures digitally, and I had never seen that before, But I mean, how was the progression for you? Did you go into it kicking and screaming, or did it just kind of make sense to you as things progressed, technology wise, for photography?
Well, I mean, ever since I can remember, I was resistant to the changes.
Right.
When the smartphones started coming, well, not even smartphones, but when the phones started coming out that could take pictures and record videos and stuff,
Right.
I was like, I don't want that. I don't need that. I'm a photographer. Go screw yourself.
Right.
Give me a plain phone.
Right. Right.
And that lasted pretty much until about 2007.
Mm-hmm.
In 2007, my girlfriend, and I launched a couple of businesses, and we just decided it was time to upgrade, and we got our first Blackberries.
Okay.
They were like the ones that were radios.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
I forget what they called them in the U.S.
I don't know what they call them. Well, they were PDAs, right? I mean, that's what they were, right? They were like
PDAs, but they were radios. Instead of having to dial somebody, you could call people in your circle.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like almost like a walkie-talkie. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it was great for weddings and stuff like that.
Yeah. So slowly over the years, you progressed to get into the digital end of taking photography, right? Or have you not?
Yeah, I think my first digital camera that I bought was probably 2010.
Okay.
So it took me a while to do the conversion.
Right.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. It was 2005 because most of my equipment was lost in the hurricanes.
Okay.
In 2005 in Cancun.
That's not good.
And the only one I had left was the one that I was carrying with me because I wasn't in Cancun when they hit. I was in Mexico City.
Okay.
And so I just okay, maybe it's time to up.
Yeah.
So I had the portable, I had the Canon with me, and I just upgraded to a digital Canon.
Because like Chris is more of a tech guy than I am. I mean, he's infinitely brighter because I don't have much up here.
Oh.
And but so he's always on top of tech more or less more than I am. But I don't know. I mean, we never had this discussion in a way of, I don't know, Chris, did you ever have a problem converting over from clackety clack typewriters to what we use now, or was that not a problem for you?
Oh God, I'm so glad we don't have typewriters anymore. That is such a relief. But I used to. I mean, nowhere near you, Kevin. I mean, Kevin's up here. I'm way down there somewhere, down among the plush carpeting. I used to do photography as well, and I kind of miss though the whole dark room and all this kind of stuff. It's just like I like the digital because it's so much easier. Snap, it's done. But I still miss that kind of magic of, fumbling around. God, I still remember having to fumble around trying to get the damn film on the negative reel, in the dark.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all a matter of feel, right? Because it is in the dark. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, it's like when you're using a negative, you can have like red light. If you're taking black and white.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if you're taking the original film, you can't have any light whatsoever. So you're fumbling in the dark trying to get the damn film on the reel.
Yeah.
But
trying to get it loaded without any light leak.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I mean, there's a modicum of more than a modicum of skill to all that, right? I mean, the skill set.
God, yes.
The skill set needed, right, to be able to.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean,
it's different than digital.
Yeah.
The world changed when digital came out.
Right.
They integrated the light meter, early on into the automated cameras like in Canon and Nikon. When they came out with their 35 millimeter cameras, they started integrating what were the light meters.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back to earlier times, like when with the Mamiya and with the other ones similar, the Brownies and stuff like that,
definitely.
You didn't have built-in light meters.
Right. So that was
you had to use
art in itself,
analog light meter.
Right. And I mean, that's part of.
And that's how you set your settings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's
sometimes if you were shooting outside, it was a nightmare because you had to take into account if you wanted the background to be washed out, if you wanted the background to be dark, you had to take so much into consideration.
Yeah.
And today, a photographer with a digital camera, or any idiot with a camera, can just take a picture, change the setting, take another picture, not like it, just delete it, and just keep going until he finds something he likes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's
and
yeah.
I like to take photos with a purpose.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's for an erotic magazine, a porn magazine, or whether it's just for a personal project. I like to have a purpose behind it.
Mm-hmm.
We always used to say, plan your shoot and shoot your plan.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Especially, back in the day, you have to realize what the difference is in costs.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Because, you had to, for magazine work, you had to turn those negatives into positives.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
So that the magazine could use them.
Right, literally negatives into positives. Yeah.
Well, that's what I would call that. Yeah. I mean, that would be the simplistic way of saying.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it makes what you're shooting has to be able to be used somewhere along the line, right? Because you're shooting.
Right, but you have to imagine you can't take a strip of 35 millimeter film and throw it into a magazine.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm. That's why I always like shooting 6x7. And you shot on 120 film.
Mm-hmm.
Ilford is a great film still.
Yeah.
Ilford's still around. Kodak cut out most of their line. They're not gone, but they cut out most of their line. But Ilford's out there. You've got the 100, the 200, the 100, 125, and the 400, mm-hmm. which are great options. You can get it. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit off.
No. I mean, it's fascinating stuff because I know nothing about photography. Chris knows a little bit, but I'm fascinated by it because it's one of those things I know nothing about, and I just know that your business.
I want to go back to analog.
Oh, I'm the same way when it comes to recording. If I had my druthers, I would be recording on tape. Analog tape.
Remember the big reel to reel?
Oh my God! Well, my producer.
That's how we used to.
Yeah, that's what we all did.
That's how we used to do film.
Well, my producer talks about all the time cutting with a razor blade and splicing just like you do with film. Exact same way on a drum beat. There's the drum beat. Exactly the same way.
When I cleaned out my grandfather's. My father was living in my grandmother's house. And when I cleaned out the basement when they passed away. There was the editing table.
Oh, that's incredible.
For film, where you're going through and you're looking at the little screen there, and you're cranking the little wheel, and
right.
You're going along looking. You stop. You make your splice. You put your two pieces together, and
right. and you hope
you're going on.
You hope that it's that that you hit it right.
Exactly.
Because there's horror stories back in the day with recording guys. Not hitting it right, and there are a million things. Or but I know there's a story about when Fleetwood Mac recorded Rumors. They went through that. They recorded so much that the tape started to wear down, and they lost the high end of the drums. And yeah, it's a true story because analog tape can only just take so many times through the capstan, just so many times, and then you're going to start losing. You'll start losing. That's what they started to lose. So. Back in the day, man, you're talking like this fun to be this age in the fact that we're all kind of around the same age because we have these stories. And remember back then when you had to, have the skills for this because if you didn't, it didn't work. That's we all have those stories.
Well, I remember seeing Bruce Springsteen before he was anybody at a bar down the Jersey Shore.
Oh man.
I think he was singing live in Seaside.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
It was Seaside Park.
Yeah, because I'm from Jersey, so I know all those stories about Springsteen up and down the shore before he hit, and
before he hit,
yeah, for sure. Now,
and then it was in the 1970s. I met Jethro Tull.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I was at his Aqualung concert.
Oh, that's cool. That's 70.
Oh, wow.
That's early 70s. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I do miss when I was younger.
Oh, me too. Are you kidding? I miss it every
But I
single.
mean, from the looks of everybody here, I'm sure I'm the grandfather of the bunch.
I don't know, Kevin. I don't know.
Oh, you know,
I
I
don't
got a couple
know.
years on me. So does Robo.
We're all about the same age. I think Chris has got a year on me, maybe. Right, Chris?
It's 23, so I'm 63.
Yeah, I'm 61. My producer
66.
and my producer's the same age, about the same age as you are. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing this. He's a little older. Yeah, he's been around. And he tells me about shows, concerts he saw. And I'm like, oh man, like just blow my mind of the groups that were together, at the time. Like you see incredible bills, But yeah, as far as missing your youth, man, oh man. It's definitely wasted on the young.
That wasn't what I missed about it. You got to imagine,
Yeah. But I mean,
it was the parties in New York, and it was and it was the girls, and
back in the day, But you're involved in an industry that I don't know if it keeps us young, but certainly it's an industry that is predicated on beauty and youth and wild stuff still happening, So in that regard, you're putting out magazines that are, pretty, the covers alone in your magazines are goddamn hot as hell, because I put it up on the website, I think a couple of days ago when you came out with them. So and I didn't realize. I didn't realize about
the Melody Minx.
Yeah, I didn't realize about the erotique. I knew about eroticism. That's how we met. You and I met because I contacted you through eroticism, and you were kind enough to put something up for a client of mine. But I didn't know about erotique. So erotique is a little. You'd say it's like PG rated or it's R.
It's between R and I don't know what comes right after R, but it does have nudity. It does have nudity, but it does not have explicit nudity. Okay. There's no open legs. It's like the original Playboys.
I got you. Right.
We've got we've got clothes, we've got breasts, and we've got full nudity, but not explicit nudity.
Right. Okay.
Not like eroticism. Eroticism is more like Hustler.
Right. So, Chris and I hear this all the time because we're writers and we hear, print is dead, print is dead, print is dead. We hear it all the time. So, putting out a magazine nowadays, what's the biggest challenge, especially the magazine you're putting out, a type of magazine? But what would you say is the biggest challenge?
Finding the right publisher.
Okay.
If you're going to do digital publishing, the right publisher. If you're going to do print publishing, then you want to find the right print publisher.
Okay.
And that's the first challenge. The second challenge is marketing to the right people.
Right. Okay. But what percentage do you find of the magazine, either one of them, is being bought print and then digitally? Can you follow those metrics?
It's kind of early for us because we only our publisher reports back to us only once a month, and it's a month behind the actual month.
Okay.
So at the end of July, I'll get June's report.
Okay.
So the May report.
Yeah.
May report was very positive. We did have good sales. But we have separate publishers for digital and for print.
Okay. So
because my main publisher where we make a little bit of money is only digital. And so when we started Erotique, we started changing the format of eroticism so that we could also publish it in a print.
I got you. So you don't know yet. I mean, maybe let's go back to eroticism. That's the older one. But you don't know the percentage of the audiences that buying. Is it 60% buying print, 60% buying digital? Do you know at this point?
No, we have no clue.
Okay.
We know that the one issue that we did sell, the first print copy, was a lingerie edition.
Okay. Right.
And that edition was for Playboy cover girls.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And
that we shot.
These girls coming to you, or you going to them?
We do a little bit of both. We
Okay.
work with some PR people.
Okay, right.
And we say, hey, look, we have slots open. Like right now, we've got all of our covers done for eroticism all the way through till January.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're all shot already.
Mhm.
The only thing we're going to do is some special editions.
Okay. So
It's something.
No, go ahead.
It's something that was successful in the past. Like we had a Christmas issue in 2021. Was the last special edition for Christmas.
Okay.
That was the best-selling ever magazine that we had. That was our top seller, and there was literally no nudity.
Right.
It was all camp models.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, nobody famous.
Well, yeah, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason sometimes, right? I mean, it just happens. And those girls also have an opportunity to advertise. Well, I mean, they can go out once you're in the magazine. They can let people know they're in the magazine.
Oh yeah, of course.
So that's
And they do. Even the top talents that we've had recently, they start tweeting, they start doing their Instagram stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Whitney Morgan, who is in our 8th edition, she does a lot for me.
Mm-hmm. So I was just wondering. First of all, if we're going any further, you're listening to Licking Non-Vanilla. Just let everybody know, like a little station identification. So Kevin, it seems to me, and stop me if I'm wrong, because you and I have had some conversation just back and forth. You seem to always be working on the next issue. You seem to be,
Right.
like it seems to be like you're the kind of guy where you just keep going, even issues come out, but you're like you said, you're ahead already. But it seems to me that
I'm looking at the next one.
Yeah, it always seems to be that's the way it is. Yeah, but I guess we set it up that way. Chris is the same way as I am. We're always working ahead. I guess we all set it up that way because we want to do it that way, right? I mean,
Yeah, and now I'm going to have even more work because today I was asked to be assistant editor of 2 magazines in Europe.
Oh, that's
Very cool.
Very cool. Can you say which
So
ones
I'm
they
going to be
are?
the one putting the magazine together.
Can you say which ones they are?
Well, it's a new launch that's called Analog, which is all analog photography.
Cool. Very cool.
But all nude.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. Well, you got to keep me on top of that one. I'd be really interested in seeing that one. Really, that's
we have our cover defined and everything, and so we have that one, and then we have an existing website that the photographer and I have been friends for probably for about 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was big in the porn promotion industry back in Europe.
Okay.
And he has a website called XCheck.
XCheck. Okay.
XCheck.
Okay.
And XCheck we're turning into a magazine as well.
Very cool. You got to give me all the information on all that stuff. I want to know all about it.
Well, as soon as we're ready to announce the launch of it, we're gonna, because he's been trying to keep a lot of it under wraps.
Okay.
But I already put it on my Facebook that I started doing analog. Because it doesn't say the same thing as XCheck does. Right. But if you look it up on the internet, Analog Magazine, you'll find the website is up and has a shitload of material.
Cool. When this episode airs, and this is actually going to be number 50, Chris, can you believe it? It's 50.
Woo!
Yeah, I can't believe we got that far. Anyway, when we do that, I'll get all the information up on the website, and we'll talk about it again.
Okay.
So, Kevin, lastly, tell us what's coming up. What we I know you hinted at a couple things, but what's coming up that we can look forward to for both magazines?
Well, for Eroticism magazine, our August issue has what's her name? Jessica Aaron.
Okay.
Jessica Aaron is going to be our cover girl. It's a pool table shoot in lingerie starting off, and so that's our August issue.
Okay.
In Erotique, our next issue is going to be a special edition back to school.
Right. Okay.
And then we'll have our September-October issue, which we haven't decided who we're going to put on the cover yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
I'm actually thinking right now that I'm going to launch earlier a what do you call it? Girl Next Door.
Oh, okay.
Issue to split things up because when I was in Mexico, I was dating a 19-year-old girl, and she became a model. She was my neighbor.
Right. Well, you're a friendly guy, Kevin. What can I tell you? You know.
She used to see all the people coming and going, and all the models and shit showing up early in the morning. And our balconies were literally across from each other. She lived in the building next to me. And I was just like, okay, so, I never really paid a lot of attention to her because she didn't talk. And then one day she rang the doorbell and she came in and she was like, I just wanted to see what you do here.
Yeah, right.
She said, I see you've got a lot of people coming and going. And I was like, yeah. So she came in, she was, she walked around, she saw how everything was set up, and she was like, wow, you've got a big place. And I was like, yeah. I said, I've got my living areas in the back, the studios in the front, the office is over here, the kitchen's back over here. And so she was like, she said, do you have anything to drink? So I was like, oh, and back then, I mean, you had to have everything to drink.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because of the variety of people that you hosted.
Coming in and out, exactly.
They're coming in and out. I had a nice little wine collection and everything. So we started drinking, and we ended up in bed.
Well,
and then after that, about 12 o'clock at night, we actually did a photo shoot.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
The first time she ever took her clothes off.
That's see. I mean that's.
And we were together until I left, and we still stay in contact because she's been trying to get her visa to come to the U.S.
Wow.
But she's been turned down because she's a Venezuelan living in Mexico.
Yeah. Couple.
Yeah,
hurdles.
and you know how we are in the. Huh?
Couple hurdles to jump to get her here.
Quite a few hurdles to jump,
Yeah, well.
I mean, I've been to immigration here in Houston trying to see, what we can do, but they're like, it's very difficult. They said if she crossed the border illegally during that time when they had that amnesty program, they could have done something for her. But I told her, don't try to cross the border illegally.
Yeah, right.
Apart from being dangerous, the coyotes, as they call them, that bring the girls across, they're dangerous as well.
Right. Yeah.
So but we stayed together, and our plan was to stay together. So if I ever go back to Mexico, we'll be together.
Right. Cool.
She's 20. She just celebrated. I should say she's going to celebrate on July 30th her 26th birthday.
Wow, keeps you young.
25th birthday.
Running after that's going to keep you young, let me tell you.
Yeah,
or kill you.
That's what gave me my stroke.
Right, so I was to say, it's going to kill you or keep you young, Man.
I had my stroke in 2019, and right after that, I had a heart attack. So
it's funny you say that because I had heard about all this that happened to you. Somewhere, somebody was wishing you well on a board somewhere, like on some sort of porn board somewhere. I was either, and they were like I hope Kevin's okay and a whole type of thing. And that's the first I guess I heard of you. And I said, what's going on with this guy? And then somehow I found you. But I remember hearing about it. I didn't want to bring this up. You brought it up, but I had heard that something had happened to you. But I'm glad to see you're fit and fiddle, and eating those SpaghettiOs that's going to keep you strong, right? And,
this shirt is actually about 20 years old.
Oh, of course it is. It's a SpaghettiO shirt. Of course it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Well, I don't, we could certainly sit here all night talking to you, man. It's funny. We started to talk. It was like, well, Kevin, we'll do 20, half an hour. And it's like, before you know it, it's like 45 minutes go by. But some people are like that. Some guests, you just keep going because the story is so interesting. And kind of.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, no, it circles. And we circle. Well, you had said to me, you said, don't worry about it. I can talk. Don't worry about it. This is like when I was talking to you on WhatsApp. I said, I don't know how long ago, Kevin. You were like, don't worry about it. I can talk for it. Don't worry about it. But no, we appreciate it so much because we love to get perspective from a whole bunch of different people, and we have talent of all different types on the show. But this has been,
of course,
this has been fascinating because we don't get usually talk to a photographer. And that's
an old photographer.
An old photographer.
That's what you're saying, an old guy.
No. I would say old because we're all the same age. I can't say old.
No, because Mark will smack you.
Yeah, right. But we're all Mark, because Mark's the older one, right? He's the wiser one. Kevin, thank you so much.
Here,
right? But Kevin, thank you so much. Really, we're gonna
absolutely.
We're gonna
thank you so much.
Let everybody know about it.
No, it was lots of fun. We had lots of fun.
Thank you.
I mean, I could get into more detailed stories if we ever get on the air again. And once we launch the new magazines, hopefully we'll have another opportunity. And
absolutely. We're going to tell everybody to go and find your magazines. But thank you,
because I'm going back to analog. I am going to buy another analog camera. I'm going to buy an RZ67.
Okay.
I already started looking at Amazon to see if I could order bulk film, the 120 film, and the only problem is setting up a good dark room, because you can't have any kind of light at all.
Yeah, that's what Chris was saying. Yeah, I'm
sure.
Well,
for developing, you can have as Christian said, you can have your little red light.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure there's no light leaks on that, because then you can get like haze on your photos.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I haven't told Mark yet, but I'm going to go back to analog. So, look at him saying he's having a heart attack. Right? Speaking about a heart attack, no, Kevin, I really can't thank you enough. It was a pleasure, man, and we learned so much.
I appreciate it. Pleasure being here.
It was great. You and I will be in touch anyway, Kevin. But
oh yeah, we'll be in touch on Twitter and
I want to hear all about the progression of the magazines you're into. The new ones coming up. So we'll
we'll
splash them all over the blog and stuff.
Yeah, as soon as Jan is ready to release, we're going to release on Twitter as well.
Okay, all right, good. We'll keep it.
Very cool.
He's the editor in chief. I'll be his assistant editor. I'm the one who's going to put everything together and get it ready for the publisher.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think we did it, Chris. We got to the end of Looking Non-Vanilla with one guest. Doesn't always happen.
It was absolutely a treat. Thank you so much, Kevin. Definitely, we got to talk.
I appreciate the invitation, guys. It was a blast.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, Kevin, you don't have to stay here, but you keep it going for Mark so he can do the magic that he does.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you very much, and Chris and I are going to say goodbye. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Chris, thank you very much. You've been listening to Licking Non-Vanilla, and we're going to see you. This is episode 50. I can't believe we got to episode 50.
Woo!
So thank you, everybody.
Bring out the champagne.
And I will see you guys very soon, I'm sure. Bye-bye.
Take care.
And visit us on the web at www.lickingnonvanilla.com.